Even Queen Bey isn't immune to toddler-level drama, and this time it came courtesy of her youngest daughter, Rumi Carter. She reminded the world that no matter how legendary your parents are, childhood emotions do not care about fame, status, or VIP access. What unfolded backstage at the Brandy and Monica concert in Los Angeles became one of those rare, unfiltered moments that show the reality of parenting, even when it's happening in luxury corridors surrounded by security teams, flashing cameras, and star-studded energy. Beyoncé and Jay-Z arrived at the concert as casually as a power couple can arrive, blending in just enough to let Brandy and Monica shine, while still turning heads simply because they are Beyoncé and Jay-Z. 8-year-old Rumi came along too, excited, curious, and completely at ease in the environment. The night was full of nostalgia and R&B magic, especially for anyone who grew up obsessing over "The Boy Is Mine." And Rumi wasn't just attending. She was living the moment, fully energized, fully present, soaking it all in like a kid who understood she was witnessing something special. But as the night started to wind down, Beyoncé and Jay-Z decided it was time to head out. Maybe they wanted to beat the crowds, maybe they wanted to get the kids home, or maybe they were simply ready to call it a night. Whatever the reason, they began gathering their things and signaling security that it was time to move. And that's when the plot twist kicked in. According to multiple backstage witnesses, tiny but mighty Rumi was not ready for the evening to end. The third grader, still running on peak concert excitement, made her feelings known with the full determination of a child refusing to let the fun stop early. She loudly told her mom, "I don't want to go to the car," in a voice filled with the kind of emotional honesty only a kid can pull off. And honestly, you could feel Rumi's whole spirit vibrating through those 6 simple words. She wasn't tired, she wasn't ready to leave the music, the lights, or the backstage buzz behind. She was fully in the moment, still riding that high, with no hint of bedtime or winding down on the horizon. In her world, the party was far from over, and she wanted to stay exactly where she was. Any parent knows this scene all too well. The emotional tug of war when a child is overstimulated, excited, and totally out of sync with the grown-ups. But usually, that moment happens in a grocery store aisle, a parking lot, or maybe at a family wedding. Beyoncé and Jay-Z? They had to handle it surrounded by staff, celebrities, flashing cameras, and a crowd of onlookers stunned to be witnessing such a hilariously relatable parenting moment in real time. What made the whole thing even more striking was how Beyoncé and Jay-Z handled it. No irritation, no snapping, no embarrassed attempts to hush Rumi. Despite being 2 of the most famous people on the planet, they responded like any patient, grounded parents would, soothing their child through a wave of emotion. They calmly repeated that it was time to go, giving Rumi room to express herself while making it clear the decision wasn't up for debate. There was no power struggle, no harsh tone, no eye-rolling, just gentle reminders and quiet insistence that the night was over. Fans who saw the reports were stunned, not by Rumi's protest, but by how soft, composed, and human Beyoncé and Jay-Z's reaction was. People immediately started sharing jokes about how their own parents would have handled the situation. Let's be real, for most of us, that kind of outburst would have earned a glare that could freeze time. Many commented that if their mom had heard them shout, "I don't want to go to the car," at that volume, it would have been met with a swift, "Try me," or a quick wrist grab signaling the end of any negotiation. But Beyoncé and Jay-Z, they chose patience. They chose gentleness. Beyoncé and Jay-Z treated the backstage tantrum as just another twist on the roller coaster ride of parenting, and that's exactly what made the moment go viral. Not the drama, but the tenderness. After a few minutes of resistance and a flair for the dramatic that only a child raised in a family of performers could pull off, little Rumi finally settled down. She took her parents' hands, accepted her fate, and walked out with them, still bursting with personality but calm enough to accept that the night was over. Witnesses described the scene as adorable, funny, and shockingly normal. For a moment, it made people forget they were watching one of the most powerful entertainment families in the world. The internet quickly flooded with reactions. Twitter and TikTok users praised Beyoncé and Jay-Z's parenting style, calling it refreshing to see such calm and patient navigation of a child's meltdown in such a high-pressure environment. Many applauded Beyoncé's gentle, "It's time to go, baby" vibe as exactly the kind of mothering the world expects from her. Soft but firm, loving, yet clear. Others joked that Rumi was brave to test Beyoncé's patience, something they personally would never dare try. Memes popped up, edits were shared, and the internet bonded over a universal truth. Kids don't care about fame, status, or schedules. They care only about the moment, and Rumi was fully committed to hers. The incident also served as a reminder that celebrity children are still children. They get overstimulated, overwhelmed, and wildly excited without warning. They push boundaries not because they're spoiled, but because they're learning the world, navigating big emotions, and figuring out how to balance fun with structure. And in those moments, no matter how famous, their parents still have to manage it. For fans, it was refreshing to see Beyoncé and Jay-Z in a context far removed from red carpets, world tours, billion-dollar business deals, or carefully curated public images. Instead, it was a simple moment that showed them as mom and dad, two people doing what parents do every day, guiding a child through big feelings while trying to pack up and go home. In a world where celebrity families often feel distant and untouchable, this little backstage episode made the Carters feel incredibly relatable. Everyone could imagine themselves in Beyoncé's shoes, calmly coaxing a protesting child toward the car while silently hoping the moment doesn't unravel in front of an audience. Everyone pictured the internal sigh Jay-Z likely let out, maintaining his calm expression. Everyone remembered their own childhood moments of, "I'm not ready to go," whether at a party, playground, or living room. And that's why the moment resonated so deeply. It wasn't chaotic or dramatic. It was real, familiar, and universal. When the clip and eyewitness accounts went viral, the internet's approval was unanimous. People praised the Carters for their grace, patience, and gentleness, and for refusing to use their power harshly. They also praised Rumi for her honesty and confidence. She didn't hold back her emotions or edit herself for the adults in the room. She simply said what she felt, and her parents guided her through it with love. In many ways, the moment offered a window into a parenting philosophy that values listening, empathy, and boundaries without fear. Beyoncé and Jay-Z didn't shut down the emotions. They navigated the moment until Rumi was ready to move on. It was a reminder that even in high-profile families, emotional intelligence is taught one small incident at a time. But above all, it reminded us of something simpler. Kids are kids. Whether dancing backstage at a concert, refusing to leave a birthday party, protesting bath time, or begging for one more song at bedtime, their emotional beats are the same. They feel joy, disappointment, and everything in between with intensity. Sometimes the world just needs to pause and let them work through those feelings before moving forward. Beyoncé and Jay-Z handled it with grace, humor, and an enormous amount of patience. The internet loved it, not because the moment was dramatic, but because it was beautifully ordinary. Because at the end of the day, even royalty gets hit with a, "but I'm not ready to go" every now and then. And when it happens, the crown slips just enough to remind us all that behind the glitz and glamour, parenting is parenting. Messy, emotional, unpredictable, and endlessly full of moments that make the journey worth it.